All wise eternal everlasting God, we bless you, thank you, praise you. We gather here this moment. Pray, oh God, that you would direct our path, that blessing upon not only this meeting, but each citizen of our city. God, we endeavor to do the will and faith. So we ask God for the direction.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes, regular council meeting minutes on July 12th, 2023, regular council meeting minutes of August 9th, 2023, and special council meeting minutes of August 22nd, 2023. Motion. Second. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Ms. Hubel? Mrs. Hahn? Yes. Reverend King?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Caprioni?
Yes.
Mr. Britt?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes. Proclamations, awards, honors, resolutions of recognition this evening. This time we turn to public comment. I remind everyone you have 5 minutes, and when you're asked to come up, please spell your name, your address, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak. This time, first one signed up here is Mike Oliver. If you would, sir.
This is agenda items only, right, Mayor? Agenda items only.
Yes.
Thank you.
All agenda items.
Good evening, thank you for your time in advance. My name is Mike Oliver. I'm the CEO of Victim Services. We currently provide services, a wide array of services to victims of crime, victims of violent crime in Camp Rio. We currently have, or approaching 40 employees, $3 million budget in Ferndale. We also have an emergency shelter at a residential in Ferndale. This is in Somerset, the Camp Rio County Courthouse in Salem. Back in 2021, we were asked by the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Domestic Violence to take over the provision of domestic violence services for Camp Rio. One of the main provisions of those services are shelter, are the vast majority of those emergency shelter are women and their children of Camp Rio County. I know, the number seems inflated. You've seen in the paper, they provided 6,000 nights of overnight. The way they drive that data is, if I have a mother and a family and with 4 kids, that's 5 nights, even though it's 1 night on each person's side. Nationally, domestic violence is one of the leading causes of homelessness across the country. I wouldn't argue against that being the case here in Camp Rio as well. So when you look at those numbers of how many people we serve, if we didn't have that shelter open for these mothers and their children, typically, and we do house men. Normally, though, we find hotel accommodations for them just because we feel it's a better environment than putting them, in our shelter, even though it's non-congregate, into our shelter building with women and their children. Putting them, I don't know where. And maybe that's the answer we're all looking for, is if we didn't have that shelter available, where would they go? Our homeless, it's a problem as it is, right? That's what we're talking about. It's a huge problem. It would exacerbate that problem if we weren't up and running. And then you would have not just one person, you have a family that you need to house, and kids that need to go to school, that have some type of semblance of a regular life. I know the item keeps getting tabled, and I would just, ask that there's a lot of misinformation out there. I had some spirited conversation with some at the apartment building right around the corner from us. I just think there's a lot of misinformation because there hasn't been any opportunity to talk about it as far as what it is that we do, what element of people would we be housing, how many employees we have, what we would do on that block. My argument would be, and I would stand by it, that having us down there would make that block safer. We have law enforcement coming throughout the day, detectives coming in and out of cameras on every door, 30 staff coming and going. Even from a development perspective, it's over 30 employees coming downtown, eating lunch, shopping, conducting regular business. So I just wanted the opportunity to speak, and I don't don't have enough time here today to dispel all of those rumors, but I would love the opportunity to have a special workshop for my staff and I to present what truly are the facts, and not just have all these rumors swirling around of what it is that we'd be doing over there, or individually. If any of you want to sit down and have a coffee with me, I would love to spell out exactly what we do and how we go about doing that. And, you know, I stress that we're doing this right now in a residential neighborhood in Ferndale with little to no issues. Anyway, thank you for your time, and hopefully there is an opportunity, if it gets tabled again, I would love the opportunity to try to schedule something. A special workshop, or, you know, I even invite the residents of the apartment. I'll have a coffee with any of you too and explain to you what it is that we do there and how it benefits this community and truly how it would prevent additional homelessness and of a very vulnerable population. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Next we have is Mason, I can't.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
My apologies, but
If you would spell your name, please.
MASONMALA.
Your address, sir.
52, apartment C, Johnstown, PA.
You're speaking in regard to an agenda item.
Yes, I am
You have 5
here,
minutes to speak, sir.
I am here wondering if I can be like a director, because I do feel this perceived better for prospect. As me as a couple, I'm foot and travel all over the places that people love, and what's going on behind doors without us residents. I mean, that frustrates me. Like, we have to wait to get the protest all this time just to get answers.
Tonight about shelter, sir. All right, so it's yours. Agree with you, Kathleen. If you would continue.
And see how I feel all these time as a prospect tenant. I've been a prospect all my life. Again, I just want to bring this up. Well, I feel like I would be right because I'm a prospect president. I lived there, all my life. I would be that. How I would feel about it with the updates. I would go to these people's houses one-on-one to give them. I would feel like this would never happen with me. I would try to make a resolution or a situation better by giving you guys great ideas instead of doing what's all in the prospect in some way. Like, I'm still heartbroken over it, sir, but I feel like there should have been a different way that could have been resolved. You understand on my behalf. And from there, I really do hope I get the position, and I just want to say that truthfully. I really have to say on my speech.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Mr. Brian Valetic. Would, sir, if you'd spell your name and your address.
Yes, Brian Valetic, BRIAN-VULEICA, 231 Walnut Street, Lily Apartments, 603, City of Johnstown. First of all, I want to say thank you for tabling I'm here to speak about the homeless shelter, whatever you want to call it, the HUD program. I want to say thank you for tabling it again so that we can continue to have dialogue on this. As I said last meeting, this is one of the most monumental actions ever taken by City Council at this point. And I think we should move slowly and at least discuss every option. There's two sides. Obviously, I know Mike. He's a great person. They have a great business. There's none of us here or in my apartment building. There are women and battered women and homeless people, or not so much but the overnight for local, for our Yod or Ferndale, as I said last time. We are very conscious of that. Why are we going to downtown Johnstown? Why does it have to be right next to the nicest apartment building in the city? You, as a city council, decided to spend $10 million on Central Park. The plans are beautiful. But yet now we're going to move 2 blocks away off of Main Street, and we're going to put a homeless shelter. I just don't understand the plan. It's not so much the office building, the people coming for lunch. I think we would all welcome that. But as Dave Suter reported in his story, there were 6,000 overnight stays last year. Mr. Oliver argued and said, well, that's a little bit, whatever the case. So maybe this is stuff that we have to discuss. Again, once you use hard money, you are vulnerable to unclaims, right? And I know that Mr. Arnone knows that. Mr. Arnone knows that. I serve as the chairman of the Housing Authority. I understand that. What I'm concerned about is some of the future. Because of the 80,000 people that are sitting in New York City right now, looking for a place to live. And what is to stop HUD from saying, listen, you got a nice facility, how about if we bring 300 down to Johnstown? And Mr. Arnett, you know that. It's hard to tell them no. So it's just a matter of what we talked about tonight was, at least, if not a good conversation, we'd be all open to discussing it. But the thing is, downtown Johnstown is growing in a different direction. We should be looking for computer jobs for young people, other things to happen in downtown. We don't need to spend all this money on Main Street. Let's put a little money in on Walnut Street as well. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bishop McGoley. Ellie, and your address, please.
Joseph McGauley, 1081 McKinley Avenue. McGauley. I'm here just to talk about that homeless shelter. In the city does not want that in downtown. I was doing a little investigating down the street. They do not want that. I'm looking at those old ladies that are sitting in front of that building. Do you realize what that is going to bring in? It's going to be like honey for bees. Johnstown has a brand new homeless shelter. Let's bust them there. We already got a bunch of people in the same through our advertising of the housing authority. You got people from New York City, Baltimore, and Philadelphia, we all know. So while we're still working with them, it still doesn't make no sense that so many people don't have housing and you open up a shelter. That's not good. You're going to invite so many from everywhere. Second thing I want to talk about, I would love to be on the housing committee. I pastor in Johnstown. My father pastored in Prospect for 55 years. We know the terrain. These families need an in-between. They all should be here right now, but they need an in-between. I want to be an in-between. And I wish we could have another sit down before you force that homeless shelter on people. At least hear from the people in the community. Listen to the buzz. A homeless shelter, I could think of 10,000 things you all could do with $1 million in Johnstown other than a homeless shelter. What's the benefit? There has to be some other benefit other than the benefit for the homeless. It seems like there's a benefit. What's the benefit? What's the fine print? What is Johnstown going to get for you doing this? There has to be some small print. Just the way things go here, man. It's like you all just do it, and the community has nothing to say. It's unfair, man. I would love to be a part of the housing. a little tired tonight. I'm in grad school. Homework. But I had to stop my work tonight to go home and change. I didn't want to come in sweatpants. Just to come and say, we got to rethink that homeless shelter. There's other things that can be done. Let's get the people back in Prospect. That's beautiful land up there. Let's get them back in it. It's all about a homeless shelter. Let's deal with Oakers and Coopers. Let's get them so general everybody can stop complaining. On job training. Homeless shelters. Come on, man. Right downtown. We got a marijuana store on Main Street. One over. We got, what is that, a methadone clinic on Main Street. You add that homeless shelter to it, complete package. Come on, dude.
Thank you. Next we have Johnstown. Your name, please, spelling, address, then you have 5.
CHA. I'm speaking on the homeless shelter, and I urge you to vote no on this non-congregate shelter in the city. It's a disaster in the making and will adversely affect the residents who live here. I've researched congregate shelters on the HUD site. I'd like to know what I'm talking about and be informed. These shelters are homeless shelters, emergency shelters, and nobody can be turned away from them. If you're a sex offender, an escaped felon, a wife beater, or involved with human trafficking, it's not a problem because you cannot be turned away. No criminal background checks are done, no ID or residency requirement. Imagine if this shelter was up and running. Now imagine the recent escaped convict who was on the loose for two weeks or so. Imagine if he sought shelter there. He could not be turned away. There's nothing to prohibit him from residing in out of state or Timbuktu to live in the shelter. You will be increasing the poverty rate in the city. Your goal should be to add to it. We don't need a non-congregate shelter which has no rules or restrictions on who can enter. Also, I read that after a certain amount of time, these shelters can be turned into public housing units. Do we really need more public housing in a city when the city's population continues to decrease? I'm also speaking on Bill number 9, amending the administrative code for residents wishing to speak. Bill number 9, you're seeking to take away our freedom of speech, which is guaranteed by the United States Constitution. You're seeking to have law enforcement remove those who make offensive, insulting, or insolent remarks. The words offensive and insolent are all subjective. None of them are objective. Basically, you're saying if council people, if your feelings get hurt by someone speaking and you feel insulted, you're going to take away our free speech and have us escorted out by law enforcement. To quote Voltaire, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. I'll see you in court if you take away my free speech. Doesn't the city already have a lawsuit from John DeBola for violating his free speech? What's the status on that? Council should be more concerned about their own actions and law violations. For example, Laura Buell has a discarded fridge in her front yard with the door skillet attached. It's a violation of PA Statute Title 18, Crimes and Offenses. Also a violation of the city's IPMC codes. The door has to be removed. Another example, Marie Mock and her private Facebook page making, in my opinion, libelous and defamatory comments and posts. Some advice to council: abide by the law, and 2, put on your big boy, big girl pants and stop whining about your feelings getting hurt.
Thank you. Next we
And
have
at this
Mr.
time, I
DeBola.
still have a minute left. I'm going to hand a picture of the fridge and Pennsylvania statute to the police chief. As I said, it's already been reported to the police via the non-emergency number, and a code complaint has already been filed with the codes department. Fridge is still there after 1 month. Even if she got a new fridge and she's tired of looking at the old one, to put it outside, the neighbors or none of the people in Johnstown want to see her old fridge sitting in the front yard.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Di Bartola. You would, sir, spelling your name, your address, and what you're speaking of.
John D. Bartola, Debartola, 1197 Bedford Street, multiple agenda. Sitting on the edge of a decision. Good evening to your leaders. The stormwater issue isn't about the overflow or anything. I believe it is about pollution. From a question standpoint, I would want to know, where is the city on their MS4 status and compliance? Who are the other municipal partners agreeing to partner on this letter of interest? And what structure would be in charge of any system? Johnstown just passed a pretty harsh stormwater discharge ordinance. That would fall under Rick Trusello, the same Rick Trusello who appointed the Johnstown Redevelopment Authority Board. This makes me wonder if this is starting to be a setup for more power for the JRA. Is it? I know you can't comment now, but hopefully someone's hearing me. 2, I would ask you to appoint a new board director to the JHA for all the reasons I have previously stopping special interests and grabs to prospect and other units, and to bring light and truth to the housing authority. You have multiple people to choose from tonight. I even applaud you, but I know you'll never vote for me. Please make a change. Show us you're willing to make a change. Cycle dinosaurs. Number 3, homeless shelter. 245 people need an emergency shelter in Cambria County with the Cambria County Human Services Block Grant. Considering the city of Johnstown is only one area in the county, the city's comprehensive report does break down how many people need an emergency shelter in the city. The number was 112. Having only spent $64,000 on emergency shelter last year, according to the county's plan, and knowing the current shelter on Bedford Street has bed space available, why would the city spend around $1 million to build another homeless shelter? A shelter would only import poverty from anywhere and bring them to Johnstown. I ask you to keep this table. Please don't do this. Lastly, I come before you today, but as a humble servant I speak because our country will respect each of our citizens has the right to freedom of speech, have the right to share their opinions, have the right to disagree. But it seems as we continue on in our country and in this community, in our area, we have unfortunately elected a group of individuals who does not believe in speech, who does not believe in allowing the citizens of this community to truly speak its mind. You want a standard procedure, a standard thinking, and a standard format that individuals must follow so that in a sense, no one steps out of line from what the quote government entity believes that is necessary. This is about the ordinance on the agenda. It's up to you, our elected officials, to bring about the change that is necessary so that the citizens of this community can truly be represented as they should have been all along, but our Constitution right to free speech. You as our elected officials, which perhaps I need to remind you, as elected officials, you are considered public servants. According to someone who serves the people, most of you, in my opinion, and I will only state it is my opinion. I'm not saying I speak for everyone. I speak for only me, a tax-paying citizen who believes they not truly represent the community. You have a tendency not to listen. You have a tendency not to care. Yes, you put on a good show. Of that I will give you. You are some of the best actors I have ever seen. But I think it's time that you really go within your hearts and realize that it's time that you serve the people, that you truly become the public servant of what the job means. The job means that you will allow the people the right to speak their minds. You can disagree, but that we all understand. So I'm asking you now, citizens that are elected to represent our community, please open your hearts and, more importantly, your minds to realize that this country was built on the aspect of free speech. You have before you the opportunity to bring this about, and I pray you will. So I want you to know, as I ask you this, I don't agree with the ordinance that you have put together. And so I refuse to support it, but I hope in your hearts you will make the right decision, table this, and uphold the First Amendment.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Robert Rossage, please. And I'm sorry, you're speaking in regards to an agenda item.
For the shelter. Robert Rossi, R-O-B-E-R-T-R-O-S-A-G-E, 231 Walnut Street.
You have 5 minutes to speak.
I take care of Lincoln Lee Manor. All the people there, as I said before, there's no Section 8. They all pay the full amount of rent. They worked all their lives. And, we have a safe, unbelievably safe little corner of Johnstown right there. And we don't want to see that. There's a lot of stuff going on here, Unfortunately, when the government gives out money, I feel they're going to pick something back out of it at any level. I don't have much faith in what's going on because what I've seen going on for the last couple of years with illegal immigration, 5 million plus, these people are looking for a place to go. And if I'm not mistaken, they're victims and they're homeless. So I hate to see my tenants jeopardized by all this lawlessness that's coming around the country and running us into the ground. I don't run my house the way the things have been going in this country. All the millions of dollars that are being spent here in this town, no offense, but the park is doing pretty good as far as I can tell. This shelter, I don't see a need for it. All I see it's going to do is bring in more people. Our homeless population is going to increase tenfold if this goes through. Myself personally, I said this last time, that I've seen in Johnstown inviting low-income citizens to Johnstown, which are not the citizens that live in my building because my people worked all their lives. Here's a quote from George Washington: "The last official act of government is to loot the treasury." In my country, I am a United States citizen. I was born here. I spent my whole life in Johnstown. So did all these people that live in this building. They work here. To me, a better use of this money is for people. When they can feel like they're somebody and they're going to make something out of their lives to be productive members of society. All this shelter is going to do is bring more homelessness to Johnstown. There's an article that I have from Casper, Wyoming. How the homeless population has destroyed this nice hotel, and there's 500 pounds of feces on the street in the city. I don't want to see that in Johnstown. I also have here, I'd like to look at is a small petition from the people in the building, where over half of them, it was just on the board over there and signing. They're not interested. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes to share, and that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Roxanne Tiger. Would Roxanne, name, spelling, and position or address?
Sure. Good evening. I'm Roxanne Tiger. That's R-O-X-A-N-N, Tiger, T-Y-G-E-R, with the Women's Health Center, 809 Napoleon Street in Johnstown. Thank you. First of all, thank you for giving me the 5 minutes here to talk this evening. I'm here talking on home ARP funding for the non-congregate shelter. I think as everyone knows, the Women's Health Center, we've been here since 1978. We're still doing that. Part of what our proposal was that we're asking you to reconsider is for that non-congregate shelter component to be able to enable us to be able to serve the people who we actually are currently serving. Although it would be a new facility, key is it would not be in downtown Johnstown. This is going to be in Kernville, about a block from our current shelter facility. When we were looking at what we've done over the last even 2 months, as far as the people we've served through the Women's Health Center and being able to shelter people off-site. In July, we sheltered 70 individuals. 17 of those were children. In August, we sheltered 85 individuals. 26 of them were children. Just to give you a sense of who that population is that we're serving. These wouldn't be inviting necessarily new people here. This would just be a facility that would enable us to serve everyone in one place. And what we're doing now, this would be for a division called the Community Health Center, which is a housing that would be a resource for anyone in the community, whether they need assistance with a mortgage, rental assistance, trying to find housing, lots of connections with landlords. It would be a one-stop shop for anything housing. There would be a shelter component there as well. And the goal isn't to give people just a place to sleep and lay their head, but they would be working every day, finding jobs to move on, which is what we're doing now. That we want people successfully housed, contributing to society, having jobs, paying taxes. We also believe in funding this that would help us to maximize the U.S. Senate appropriations that we've received so far and the ones that we're in line to receive again for this new shelter facility. We'll work completely with the city on the implementation partnership. And we really do think it would be an added asset to the city to help increase the Thank you.
That concludes public comment and items. We will now move on to reports, starting with the city manager.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things I want to go over here quickly. I know we have so over the last month, we had the last of the public meetings for our Main Street and Central Park project, and so staff and I have been working. Sorry, staff and I.
If we could, please.
Okay, so staff and I have been working with the and our consultants working on the environmental historic preservation reviews to go from the concept design, now that we have a concept, to the actual engineering design drawings that would be bid out for the construction of the project. And there's just a couple data points I want to mention here to clarify the record, because there's a lot of information flying around out there, and some of it's not fully accurate. So I know that the dollar amounts at this level get high, and the numbers involved. The Central Park Main Street project, when you're looking at all of this, talking about the streetscaping of Main Street, and then the Central Park project, that is a $17 million project. It's not any more than that. I've heard 20 million. We can round up, but that's not an accurate number. The figure is 17 million on the park project, and of that, we still have some work to do. This is the work we're digging into right now, with the design of the pavilion, the design of the water feature, the design of the monuments, the design of the stormwater blend. All of those things, we have to work out the details. But for Central Park, we're looking at a $6 to $8 million project. Central Park itself is not a $20 million project. It's not a $17 million project. The range we're looking at right now is $6 to $8 million. So I just wanted to mention that so everybody has a better handle on the numbers with the race grant and the Central Park project. And again, the city's putting out monthly updates on the race grant, so those are on the city website. And so, if you want to read more about the race grant, there's the monthly updates that are provided, as well as the concept sketches that are the basis of our design moving forward with the project here. The other thing I want to mention is we $1,000 grant earlier this week. It was one of 8 grants that DC provided under the Municipal Assistance Program for a new Johnstown comprehensive plan. The city was awarded $150,000. That was the largest award in the state of the 8 awards that were made. So we're very excited to dig in here with the Johnstown Planning Commission and the community to start on the Johnstown comprehensive plan. So that concludes my update.
Regarding the Main Street and Central Park Stadium.
Correct.
Central Park. We don't even know how much all this is. Anything at this point. So when it's things most definitely might get scaled back just because of the cost of materials, labor, construction costs, the utilities are all going to be replaced on Main Street, so that's a huge expense. So things are going to be scaled back. And so some people agree well that the park needs work done, but if things are gonna be scaled back, it's gonna have to be scaled back in a way that the park's gonna be made in a more realistic, feasible maintenance. A lot of things that need done, no doubt about it. But if we have to trim some stuff back to meet budget, which is what we're gonna have to do, it's our decision to do that at some point. That only goes so far, it's only going so far. So the part you're gonna have to probably pull back a little bit would be probably from the park, because the maintenance work needs to be done on Main Street. Again, the utilities, the lighting's bad, sidewalks, the ADA compliance, the whole thing might cost more. So you're gonna pull it from the pot of the plan from the park to make those things better. So that 17 million is gonna have to be stretched all over the place. And it's gonna be, I think everybody's getting a little bit overreactive on everything. And you're right, some of the exaggerations of cost, and it went from this to that. And I just think it's gonna take some, but I myself wanna see things scaled down a little bit and more efficiently spread out within Main Street with the street front, storefronts and everything looking nice for them. Also, the match on that, the 8 million ARPA money, people are saying we could use that money for something else, but we can't pull that out of there because that's a match. If we pull the match out, the whole thing collapses. We can't do that. So the whole thing will collapse. Absolutely. I think that needs to be explained. So can you go through that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nobody, from the city staff to the consultants who are working on the project want a project that's over budget, right? So, when the project was being formulated, estimates were provided, and I can assure you, the project is being designed right at $1 million figure. We're not going to design a $30 million project when we only have $17 million in the bank. So, it's helpful knowing that that's the amount that we have. We have that $17 million, and that's what we're committed to, and that's the project budget. So, again, nobody on the project team wants to deliver a project that's going to be over that budget. So, everything that we're doing now, the work that's going on right now, is being done, with that in mind. And if we can come in under budget, great. But to go over budget is that's not in the plans. That's what we're working on right now, and that's why we have professionals like we do on board who can guide us in that direction and provide us options on different components of the, whether it's the park and Main Street. To say, here's options A, B, and C, and this is what they cost. And you're right, sometimes we're going to have to pick option C because it's cheaper, even though we like option A, right? But that's the work that's going on right now. But it's all based on estimates, knowing full well what the budget is. And so I think we're in a good spot, when we come out with this, move through this. Budget's going to be top of mind the entire time as we're working on this project. So.
I'm just wondering, how do you? I mean, so you open up Main Street.
Well, you're right. Yeah, I mean, until you open up to this, we have no idea, right? I mean, that's any project. That's every project we do. Nobody can tell you what the final cost is going to be. So,
what I'm saying is, I'm not going to do Main Street like it should. These sidewalks, everything that needs done on Main Street, one end to the other. Going to have to come. We can't skip on one overly.
Nobody's saying you have to skip one.
I'm not
Sometimes
saying
you have to scale back.
I'm not saying skip one. I'm saying scale back a little bit. As far as, but that's the part that's going to have to be scaled back. Because if you come in and say Main Street's going to cost $1 because we ran into an unforeseen circumstance here. Okay, so now we're going to take it from the park because that's the only pot of money we're going to take. No other money available.
Infrastructure has to take precedence over the previous.
Exactly.
That's stormwater management and upgrading all of the infrastructure has to be. We talked about that from the get-go, that was a big part of what we needed, and I know Jared has worked hard to try to figure out what that number looks like, but I don't think he can really determine that right now. So I agree with what you're saying.
I think what's lost in conversation here and to the public is these grants were written for a purpose, okay? and they were accepted for specific reasons.
Well, infrastructure.
Let me finish, please. No, let me finish, please. And if we don't get these grants, they're going somewhere else. So if they're not coming to Johnstown and we don't write a good grant, they're going to whoever, Altoona, Michigan, et cetera, et cetera. So we wrote these grants, and that's why they were accepted, because of this. I don't disagree with you with the scaling back or whatever
That's
you
what I'm
do,
saying.
but I think what's lost in a lot of the information to the general public is if we don't do these and we don't get them, somebody else is.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. I am not saying, and Caprioni will agree, we're not saying we shouldn't be doing this. We're saying that if more work, because you know darn well, as soon as you open the roads up, the infrastructure is terrible. That takes precedent over the elaborate park. Something has to get scaled back. So if we're spending $6 million to $8 million on the park, and we need $4 more million to finish, we took something down under there, stormwater, all that stuff. It's coming from that. It's not coming from another write a grant and get another grant for it. It's coming from that.
Yeah, we would balance it out. I mean,
Okay.
something comes in high or something comes in low. You know, there's balancing that happens in every project, and certainly we would do that.
I'm not trying to be.
And the other thing too, I mean, just keep in mind this project's been evaluated by the Department of Transportation when we applied for the RACE grant. I mean, they have people who do these projects all over the United States, and they come through the applications thoroughly. I can assure you, there's no project application that's vetted more than a federal project application. And so if they didn't have confidence that we could deliver this project, they would have given us the money. So, if they saw the project application come in and say, these numbers are way out of line, this just isn't, we would have been approved. And the same goes to the state that we got through the redevelopment assistance capital program. Yeah, same thing. They're looking at our project too with a high level of scrutiny. All of these funding sources are highly competitive. And so, they're going to look at these and say, if the budget doesn't make sense or it's out of whack, they're going to say, yeah, no, this doesn't work. We're not funding it. So, again, we will have a high level of scrutiny on the numbers on the budget as we go through this project, as nobody wants to deliver a project that's over budget.
Oh, I mean, this needs fixed, that needs fixed. You all know that. And pull the match. The match is the.
Correct. Yeah. And if you pull the raise or you didn't do the $8 million, raise, and that's the other thing to consider, and just so everybody's aware. This isn't just Central Park and Main Street. This is part of a larger project that includes the train station and a major investment in the train station, to the point where if you don't do this project at the train station is probably coming down at some point because there just isn't money locally to fix up that building. And it also includes the incline plane. It includes $3.6 million for the transit center, which is another facility that hasn't had a long time. So this isn't just about Main Street and Central Park. The Race Grant project consists of 4 major projects, all in need of some major improvements and investments. So
our $1 million at the $1 billion.
Yeah.
And internal. Anyone have any comments? Okay, if not, at this time, the mayor's report, I have a number of things to report on. First, congratulations and kudos to Sandy Bell Cemetery. They've just done a marvelous job over there this weekend. They celebrated a dinner and fundraiser. It's amazing what they've done. If you haven't been to Sandy Bell lately, please take the time to go over. It's open throughout the day. Walking trails, just an amazing job of what they've done over there. I had the opportunity last week to attend 2 ribbon cuttings. One was Ziggy's Construction across from the War Memorial. His stating they've expanded their space there to stay in the city. Also, Johnstown School District Middle School put in an outdoor playground. Ribbon cutting over there last week, and it has 3 different areas to get out of the weather and basically asphalt sidewalks and just some more comfortability for kids over there in general, and kind of outdoor educational pieces. So congratulations to them. Just a big shout out again to the Ethnic Fest and all of those that keep it running. That's a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of people. It's easy to throw in the towel on that and just say we're not doing it anymore. But we had a few blocks that were empty, but throughout Kansas City, it brings many, many visitors to the city, Kansas City, and throughout our area. Touching on the Main Street presentation, everybody was invited to look at the plans for the Main Street project. There were multiple presentations. Shame on those that didn't come, or at least look at them, give their comments there. It's been advertised and looked at, and we're open to suggestions and thoughts and everything you can imagine. But you need to give your input. If you don't give your input, then it really doesn't get on there. We're finalizing some of the things with the Main Street project, and please get involved. The other piece is, I was very fortunate to be invited to Detroit 2 weeks ago to be on a panel to speak about brownfields and all that we've done in Johnstown. Met with 4 other mayors from across the United States, Louisiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, to really tout the things that we're doing in Johnstown. Got to speak to the environmental protection people, kind of talking to them to encourage what we're doing here in Johnstown and throughout our area. And brownfield grants, I think we've done 11 of them since we first started many projects within our city. So very proud to be able to speak to an audience of about 2,500 people. Also attended the Pennsylvania Mayors Association Conference in Lancaster this past year. There were 75 mayors from across all of Pennsylvania, and I'm proud to say that Johnstown will be hosting the conference in 2014 here in Johnstown. So if you would, any questions for the mayor, comments? So we need to get out to tout what we're doing and all those positives that are going on. Thank you. Next, we have the city solicitor.
No report, this question in a minute.
City engineer. Council updates. Mike, if you would, please. Deputy Mayor Capriati.
I have nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay. Councilman Britt. Councilman Arnone.
As your representative on the Housing Authority, as in the past few months, I have provided an update on statistical information related to the population of public housing communities located in Johnstown. As of August 31st, 2023, the total population of our Johnstown public housing communities is 2,268. Our Section 8 voucher borders in the city of Johnstown total 1,153. Amounts a total population of 3,421. We are currently assisting 45% of the people living in poverty within the city of Johnstown. The prospect relocation has affected these population statistics. JHA is hiring a service coordinator this month. A new position in the authority to serve. The service coordinator will connect families to local agencies for needed service, also scheduling special programs within the community. Having a service coordinator is an example of JHA is growing with more resources to assist our residents and employees. Our Family Self-Sufficient program, which began this year, already has over 30 participants, public housing and Section 8 residents. Our residents succeeded in this program are working towards becoming self-sufficient and independent. Also, as you read in the paper, we've sent a letter out to all the prospect residents informing them that we are looking at rehabilitating the prospect community, and we're waiting on bids to see what the cost is going to be for that. That's as much information about that project that we have. As the Water Authority representative, service line, 12 lead service lines were replaced in August, as well as 250 feet of 8-inch main pipe replaced on Chandler Avenue. Customer Service Department received 80 new service applications in the month of August, and 37 accounts that were inactive were reactivated during this month. 117 new accounts within the city. Positive. These to their homes or businesses reestablished. All the reservoirs are water is great, quality is great. Both have passed several tests. We're still waiting for the results of August. Sonar tests are completed at Snuff Lake and all. As of the end of August, the city of Johnstown is 65% pressure tested, but that number will change probably well into the future in a positive way because of some things that are. That's all I have.
Ask a question in regard to that. What happens the end of this year as far as those fines for people that haven't completed their?
They will be fined, the fines will be increased, and what we found for most of them is that, people that just are sitting on the pump, they thought they would go away, and they ignored it, and they haven't gotten any work done. They had voted that the fine will go up incrementally every 6 months instead of a year in order to, because we have to meet these regulations. And they hope that, right now, the fine was so low, $25, as the fine increases, it's going to be more towards you getting it done.
Is there a penalty at the end of this year? That going to be extended?
Don't know that it's going to be extended.
Penalty is right now.
Would be $300.
People that have a contract that are awaiting work, if they're still protected as they've been.
I guess it's not about it. That isn't the case in all the ones that we have received, the ones that have contracts out, they have not worked done. It's not, before it was a lack of contractors or equipment, material, that hasn't been the case right now. They've expired, their contracts have expired, and they haven't gone to renew the contract, or they haven't had, maybe they haven't moved along.
Probably announced somewhere.
They announced that individual, in particular to themselves.
But I mean, in the paper, media, to let people know.
I can bring it up tomorrow meeting.
Yeah, because it should be put out there.
They do normally, when anything increases, it is automatically.
Now, what I'm saying is it's September, so if you don't tell somebody, how are they gonna get a contract? It's not like a contract.
I will take that back here tomorrow.
I guess she's asking for additional. I get it individually, but it's,
Yeah,
I don't know that they can do that because of the EP regulations, but I can certainly ask.
but what I'm saying is if, for a contract application that somebody filled in contract, felt that is good faith that you're gonna get it done and they're gonna do it, regardless of what the timeline is, because it's busy. But now you're saying, if a contractor signs it in October and says, I'm really busy, I'm not gonna get to it until January or February, happen. You're gonna get fined $300.
They don't pay that, but I can't answer that. I don't want to say that that's.
Can you take that back?
I will take it back tomorrow.
Okay.
remember that was based over 2 years. So that'd be right.
I know.
If they've got a contract, then they just,
Yeah, I get it.
Already moving on then, Councilwoman Mock.
Nothing really, our kindergarten's wrapping up, it was a nice,
Councilwoman King.
The United Nations is putting back up their meeting. Let's see the emails.
Can't hear it. We can't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. The United Neighborhood meetings will be starting back up at the end of September. I'm sorry, I really don't have the date yet because we wanted to verify exactly where it was going to be at. But I've been attending different neighborhood groups throughout the city, and I'm very pleased with the progress that is being made, especially as some of the newly formed neighborhood groups. And I'll just really give a shout out to the Cornerstown group because they are truly moving forward with their progress. So more to come next month because I think everybody will be back.
I was at a meeting yesterday. I think they're trying to do something again there on the 28th, if I remember correctly, with all of this.
Yes.
At the Holiday Inn. Anything else, Reverend King?
No.
Councilwoman Laura?
I want to congratulate all the nonprofits who came together for a successful Ethnic Fest this year. That was a wonderful event to attend. I also want to congratulate Baja and the associated nonprofits who remembered Rosedale last week. Phenomenal to the public and very important that we recognize even the price of Johnstown. It was a great kickoff of the gallery on the gazebo, and wonderful local designers who showcase, their creativity and fantastic all the talent that we have in the city. And finally, looking forward to Slavic Fest this coming weekend, and also all the nonprofits who are involved with educating people about cultural and ethnic history. To address a little bit about public comment, I'd like to thank everyone who shared their concerns in good faith. I love nothing more than public participation in government and civic engagement. So I thank everybody who came to share. I do appreciate you are heard. I think there's been a lot of widespread mischaracterization of the home plan, and I think that at least part of that is failure in the effectiveness of the city's issue. So I think we certainly could have done a better job about that. But I do encourage conversations about this project to be directed to the respondents to our RFP, who have the details, who know what they have in mind for their project, who can answer questions about what constitutes a non-congregate shelter in this area, what all that means, and what their plans are, the scale of their plans, because I think there's been a lot of confusion about that. I'd also encourage items to be directed to city staff if it's about an ordinance or legislation that we pass as a city. There were a lot of conversations, public comment offered on all of these items, including, that we were accepting this grant, what the grant's purpose was, that we could not spend this grant in other ways, that if we didn't accept this grant, it would go somewhere else. So it's great to see some. So I encourage all of those questions, but instead of maybe coming to council and asking us these questions, which you're certainly welcome to do, we're not always equipped to give you the best answers. So that's why we encourage you to reach out to the experts. So it'll be a better use of your time, you'll get better information than if you're struggling getting answers from those people. Then please come to us so that we can help you get to it. So I heard a number of false statements in the public comment, and everyone's person in the right to make a false statement in your public comment. That's not the issue. But I would encourage anyone listening to the public comment, take everything that you're hearing with a grain of salt. It may not be accurate actually to your own research. I also wanted to say that I was a little discouraged to hear the proliferation of conspiracy theories about the motives of the city and city authorities. We've been not limited to a land grab and prospect. I can't imagine what we're grabbing and for whom. But as lovely as I hope this is, I'm astonished by some of these conspiracy theories. But I also encourage more conversation between the housing authority and the communities that they serve. I know that the board meetings are open, so I would encourage anyone who has questions about what the housing authority is doing, about communicating with the housing authority, attending board meetings, after the board questions. So that was that piece. And then I also just wanted to say that I'm discouraged by the discredit to all the respondents to the home application that I heard in some of the public comments. These are nonprofits that have been serving our community for decades. I don't know what else to say. They're doing their services in residential neighborhoods right now. It's not serving anyone. They're trying to continue that same work. Some of them are trying to move jobs into the city as a result of their response to the proposal. They're proposing, improvements to buildings within the city in excess of 6 figures in order to make these projects happen. So I think, it's fine to disagree with the project. It's fine to even misunderstand a project and speak out against it. But I think we're going to discredit these nonprofits to some degree. So I wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Before we move on to the agenda, just note that this weekend the Slavic Fest will be operating in the Kansas City section of Johnstown. I believe it's Friday or Saturday. Please come out and support their efforts, John and everybody else who's putting that together. And I apologize. One other thing behind. I appreciate the widespread community concern for my landscaping plan. So we'll share it at the appropriate time, but I am happy to address anything or lack of contents in my front yard outside of a council meeting. It's not an appropriate topic for a council meeting. I'm fully transparent. You'll find talk about my decisions today. Ordinances, if there are none. Ordinance refers bill number 4312, passed November 22nd, 1983. Numbers 4610, 4670, 4816, and 5327, and codified at Title 4, Section 8725 of Chapter 8 of the City of Johnstown Codified ordinances to amend the annual election date of the Business Privilege Act from March to May of any applicable year. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or comments?
I just wanted to make sure that it's not causing any issues with this department as far as.
No, I can tell you Bob is in full support of this, and this was developed with his assistance. Really, this is to be more business friendly. The city currently collects this tax in March, which is a bit odd. I've seen that most businesses file their taxes after March. And so the school district collects this tax in May. This will enable the city to send out a joint bill to the school district so that businesses receive one bill and they're not receiving the city's bill in March, or having to pay the portion of that tax in March prior to when they're probably doing their tax.
Any other questions or comments? Sarah, roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Red?
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Moss?
Yes.
Ms. Siebel? Yes.
Bill number 9 of 2023, update of public participation standards and procedures at council meetings. And ordinance F4, titled an ordinance establishing an administrative code for the city of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, designated powers and duties of the council, city manager, and other municipal officials, passed finally on October 27, 1993, and is amended by subsequent ordinances specifically listed and detailed within Note 1 of said ordinance below. By amending certain sections of Article 2, elected officials, council, organization, and procedures, and specifically codified in Section 3 by updated procedures and standards for public participation at council meetings.
Motion to table.
Second. Second. This time we will move on. Bill, sorry. If you would roll call, Sarah.
Mr. Red?
Yes.
Mr. Capriati?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Reverend King?
Yes.
Mrs. Moss?
Yes.
Ms. Siebel?
We move on to resolutions. Inclusion of normal municipal obligation calculations in 2024 budget. Resolution of City Council, City of Johnstown, Henry County, Pennsylvania, acknowledging receipt of and authorizing the city manager and or his designee to take any and all actions necessary to include the calculations of the minimal municipal obligation for each of the city's pension funds for inclusion in the 2024 municipal budget. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion.
What, a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or comments?
I have a question. The amount that the state gives us in addition to what we fund these, you know that amount?
Yeah, well, last year it was, or for 2023, it was just shy of $900,000.
So our amount, why is it increasing more? It used to be like 3 million. Then again, of course, we funded, we made them all whole at that point with the sewer.
Correct. Yeah. This, well, the amount for 2024, the $1,348,000 is about $40,000 higher than 2023. And Mock and Hobbs, who's our pension administrator, they make those calculations based upon the city's budget and then the anticipated state aid. We don't know how much exactly we receive from the state until that calendar year. So, using the projection from last year, we may or may not end up with a little more or a little less, but
So this is pretty much in line with what we do.
yes.
Okay, there's no other.
Mr. Capriati?
Yes.
Reverend King? Mrs. Moss?
Yes.
Ms. Siebel? Yes. Mr. Red?
Yes.
Mr. Red?
Yes.
Home American Rescue Plan funding is tabled. Is there a motion?
Motion to remove from the table.
I'll have to read the resolution.
Okay.
Resolution of City Council, City of Johnstown, Pennsylvania. I'm sorry. Reading it first to
Yeah, we can.
read it first. Resolution of City Council, City of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, authorizing the city manager to execute and take any and all necessary to effectuate an agreement with Victim Services Incorporated in the amount of $749,683 through the City Home American Rescue Plan Program for the development of non-congregate shelter within the city of Johnstown. Is there a motion?
Motion to remove.
I'll second that. Comments, questions? This is to remove from table, if you would. Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Okay,
Motion to withdraw.
well, wait, okay.
Making a motion to withdraw the whole thing.
Second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any other motions? I'll vote on that. This is to withdraw the resolution. Wait,
Mayor,
no.
Reverend King,
Yes.
No.
Mr. Lenny,
Vote on that, please.
Okay.
Motion failed.
If I could just say, in regards to what people have said, and people like this. We don't know enough information on this, and we don't know. I've been asking for a workshop now for 2 meetings, and somehow it gets pushed away. I think we need a workshop to hear from both parties to see what's going on, because we don't really know. I think it has to be a public workshop, because the public has to see what's going on and understand. Because quite honestly, there was a lot of miscommunication that was said that Mr. Oliver definitely said was not true. So there's a lot of rumors going out there that are, I mean, the New York City people, come on. I mean, but we have to know what the HUD, what is HUD saying? Can we have a representative from HUD?
There already was public. There was more than one public session. And in the last public session, this room was packed with people voicing their concerns. I don't really think that's the issue. I wanted it withdrawn because I think that we need to go back to the drawing board and we have a workshop. There is new information out there, but I think the work should be and actually the county has to be involved because this involves county. So that's why I just think it should be taken off the table. We should have a workshop. We should have a workshop with the county and probably our state representative as well to discuss this issue. But there already was a public participation meeting at least 2 or 3 times. Am I correct? Okay, where the public was invited to come and discuss the issue. This is how the RFP came into being.
Yeah. If I might, I think that it's a very, very valid points to make concerning this. I think this should be looked over again and worthwhile getting into it. Because there are some major concerns and people say major some things that have been, I think, let me speak myself, that would have been overlooked.
I agree with you, Councilman Brett. I also heard this is 10 beds. I said somebody out there said 3,000 people. Somebody said people from New York that were bringing this in. I think I honestly couldn't vote tonight if I had to. And I want, I believe, to make a vote based on what I've heard. I've heard 2 different sides that are totally different. My opinion is we need to workshop. Each council has their way.
I'm open.
Yeah, real quick, Marie, before you motion. In line with what everyone else is saying, I would just like to further state that while we've had these public comment opportunities, and while the information coming from the public has been mixed, I don't believe that we've had a real thorough explanation because a lot of what was said tonight that came out with regards to what you can and can't do once you accept HUD funding is not inaccurate. There are specific things the minute that HUD is involved with the project that there's only so much you can do to turn somebody away. What I'm not interested in as a council member in the city is, more, folks into this area that are not here and not in need of the shelter for the proper reasons. And until I feel like I have had that information come from the people that actually can answer it versus a rumor and innuendo, I truly wouldn't be for for it either. So I do think a workshop, whether it's with the county and the state representatives, I do think that somebody from there is gonna have to be the one answering. The can do's and cannot do's are, once you start getting involved.
I agree 100%. We need to know what's accurate and what's inaccurate.
Exactly. I motion to put back on table.
Second.
We have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please. This is to put back on table.
Mayor,
Yes.
Reverend King.
Yes.
Ms. Sheffield,
No.
Renee,
Yes.
Mr. Brett,
Yes.
It's fully what Johnson.
I'd like to thank council for all their opinions and all their looking at this very well on the same page and not just until we get the
Real quick, if I could, Mayor,
Yes, sir.
we talked about a workshop and inviting everybody. I would really like to make that date be about when everybody can be there, and not just present a date to people that are gonna tell you, oh, we can't come there. So the important players involved, let's make sure that the folks can all be in attendance there, and that way we know that PCD and the state rep and all those folks, I'm sorry, you know, that can be there as well, not just present a date to people that are gonna have other things going on.
The primary people. Johnstown City, Henry County, Pennsylvania, approving a minor subdivision at 216 Barron Avenue. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Second. Any questions or comments? Not roll call, please.
Reverend King,
I have a question. I'm
You're
sorry.
still stuck on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get past that, yeah. I did have a question. I just couldn't, and I didn't get the opportunity to either, I couldn't get the picture.
It's, can you explain what that is?
I don't know. I was not involved in that.
Yeah,
I can come up.
It's unfair.
Yeah, I just couldn't get it.
So do you know where the Remco building is? It's the building directly behind that. So the family owns the building that's behind that, and there is a commercial garage that's there on the lot. So they're subdividing the garage from the house that lot sits on. That way they can keep the garage for business purposes and, you know, maybe sell the house.
And it is correct to say that it was previously divided.
Correct.
Separating.
Are there any other questions before we do roll call?
No, Alex did send us but we say the review letter from the Cambria County Planning Commission. They also recommend.
Roll call, please.
Reverend King,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Renee,
Yes.
Mr. Brett.
Yes.
Mr. Caprielli.
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes. Stormwater management grant application. Resolution of City Council, City of Johnstown, County, Pennsylvania, approving a letter of interest to be submitted to the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. A motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
Question. Gary, are you involved in this at all?
Nope.
Alex, real quick, can you explain to me the benefit of utilizing, like, getting involved with the other municipalities that stormwater is coming into the city? Why we're doing it this way versus just doing it on our own?
Yeah, so just to sort of give a little bit of background on it, the last few months, I've been having conversations with basically every contiguous. Start doing some proactive stormwater management planning, so that way we can, you know, basically identify what sort of infrastructure is not only in the city but in the surrounding municipalities. So we know what our capabilities are in dealing with stormwater. The reason it's, you know, beneficial to include the other municipalities is that, quite frankly, a drop of rainwater doesn't care which municipality it's in. And quite frankly, you have stormwater that comes off from both hillsides and drains into the city. So, you know, conversation about how we manage stormwater in the city. It's going to be crucially important to make sure that we include the other municipalities where the water originates from, because it starts at the top and flows into the city, and then, it's making its way through the channels out of the city. And I think if you're going to have successful long-term stormwater management, you need to look at every level that water goes to on its way through our city. So the current proposal that's in front of you tonight, again, this isn't a financial commitment. This is just literally giving a letter of interest to FEMA to say, we're a municipality. The reasons people specifically is because we do historic floodwater and stormwater issues, which makes us eligible for the FEMA to manage stormwater.
And to support you, we looked at this before here.
Some of us had unfinished. It's getting those outside. No, what's in it for me? Why should I do this? So it's bringing them on board. That's all. Roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Chief Parks Project Johnstown, Henry County, Pennsylvania, City Manager to sign all documents necessary to execute an agreement with Sports and Recreation Associates LLC, awarding the CDBG 2023 Park Improvement Program, Somerset Street and Sandyville Parks. Motion, please. Second. Questions, comments? I think this addresses some of the we're doing with the parks where we have. This is probably one of many that are out. Roll call, please.
We did speak in Johnstown. We're just going to have like a meeting, at least wherever the park is located, to go over the rest of the scope of the work that's being done.
And their input on students.
Oh, yeah, by all means, yes.
How is this broken? Is this broken down in some fashion? Like all three? Has this already been determined, like how much is going to each one?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
The bid packets are already together, it's already good, and it's well under projected budget numbers.
Okay.
Now.
Right.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 PA DCED Targeted Developmental Program Application. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, authorizing the city to sign all documents necessary to apply for funding assistance from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, the amount of $125,000 through the Keystone Communities Program to be used towards the continuation of the city's targeted development program in the city of Johnstown. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second. Questions or comments?
Question. Is this part of the loan program or is this a grant or what?
This is a grant.
For the person, for the business that's flying.
Yeah, for the person it is a grant. So in the form of, it's a dollar for dollar match. So we do a facade program that we've operated here for years that will do up to a $10,000 maximum value.
This is the facade?
Yes, for facade. So this is where we locate vacant storefronts throughout the city, and we put up a poster to help attract interest in those sites. And we do those, like I said, we had started the initial program, we focused on downtown. Now that we're filling up many of our spaces downtown, we're looking to expand that beyond. The funding we had for that was internal funds through our UDAG account, but we're running out. We'll be out of those funds in probably so we're trying to, we talked with the state earlier this year. They seem supportive of the program, so we're trying to get additional money to help extend that program.
Give me an example of how this works.
We put a poster out. People contact the city about it and want to they submit applications to us as far as interest. Staff review those as well as their eligible applications for use in that project. And there's a commitment of a year. Then we would provide them up to $25,000 to help them out that site. And those funds can be used for pretty much anything. The only thing we restrict on, if the money is being used towards the lease cost of that site, it's restricted only 6 months. And they have to show us that they have the other 6 months worth of funding to match that, so that we're not affecting the property owner on the rental location.
Where are these sites located?
We have several locations that we've had here recent times. Roots, the Grub Shack, Main Street Pizza. We have the Right Cop, Maurice Reed's Grind Hard location. We've helped the Shonda's Knockerball location as well. So we've had several locations here through downtown that have taken advantage of that program. It's really been the most effective program I think we've had economic development-wise to get people in these sites quick and get businesses open and create jobs.
So this will extend to the neighborhood.
This is going to be any, yeah, like I said, through this round, we want to see extend this beyond just downtown.
Responsible for selecting the sites?
We have groups up and running. We're really looking to really gather information from those groups in regards to those site locations. So right now, we're obviously, we haven't started anything until we receive the money. When we do, we will open up a round of public meetings with the neighborhood groups to identify those sites.
What if there's a site that the person has already started work with? It's a building that someone already purchased it, they already started doing work on that building. I mean, the focus of the program that we initiated was really to take a vacant structure and make it an occupied, usable structure. So it would all depend, I guess, on the amount of work that was done on that site for us to make that determination.
So they're money they put into it.
Well, let's get in that program. We don't actually require a match unless you're using funding towards the rental piece of that purchase. Yes.
Real quick, when selecting these sites that you're going to do this on, sure you have a criteria that the building has to be to a certain standard as far as, you know, construction and utilities and things like that, so that it isn't something that can't get to.
Yeah, I mean, once again, the maximum we put on the table is $25,000. So if our money doesn't get the building open, then we're not really interested in at that site. If more money is required for the property, then we would work with them on our HUD economic development program, which has more funding with it.
Okay.
Do you have any? I'm sorry.
Does the property owner have to be in good standing with codes? And
Of course,
taxes and the whole thing?
of course.
Okay.
You have some properties already slated at this time?
We have some thoughts in mind, but once again, we haven't solidified a list on that. Once again, until we receive additional funding, we didn't want to go too far down that path. Once again, if we get award of funds, then we will host, once again, meetings with these the neighborhood groups and gather up potential sites. And then I'll discuss that, of course, with my boss to see which ones we may look at selecting and work with council as well in this select. on file, then we'll go ahead and repost it for 90 days under new ownership, because a lot of these properties change ownership pretty quickly, that we have to post it again and have that out there for 90 days.
I
So
understand the process.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in this particular address.
it's already going on the next RFP.
I got a call yesterday.
You do?
Yep.
So you and I have talked before about a couple of places in Moxham, and I think you told me before that they aren't eligible for this particular type of funding for demo because they're considered historically.
They're located within a historic district, and we can't utilize
Even though they're
our
literally
funding source.
falling down.
Yeah, I don't.
So what is the process for the residents and I'm getting beat up about two specific ones, Dave's on both of them from a code standpoint. I understand that we can't use this funding, but I know you said before that there was other options available for these.
Correct. We partner with Johnstown Redevelopment Authority, so the funding that they utilize can be utilized in any of the neighborhoods within the
Still
city.
need the same criteria, Act 90.
We still do the same thing. Everything
Okay.
that they demo through us, through our demolition process list. So JRA can't go out and demo anything unless we've gone through an Act 90 and done all our processes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? Roll call, Sarah.
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
We move into new business. Real estate tax assessment bill 250 Market Street on the Holiday Inn. Ethan, you want to handle the rest of you, man?
Sure, thanks, Mayor. So this, as you mentioned, is for the property, 250 Market Street, the Holiday Inn. They did appeal their tax assessments, and there was negotiations between the property owner and the city, which resulted in a fair market value of $3,999,500. And there was an independent appraisal performed to help us arrive at that amount, and all parties have agreed to this assessed value. And so to approve that, we would just need council to approve the motion that you under your recommended action.
That's the hotel and the parking garage.
That's the hotel.
Not the parking garage.
Correct. Correct.
They own that too.
I'm going to say publicly who owns that.
Okay. I'm just curious if that's the price.
Any questions? Any other questions? So we need a motion.
Motion.
Oh,
Do I have a second? No other questions? Roll call.
Mayor, I'm sorry, quick, you made the motion. You read the motion here, just so we have that. Yeah, just the motion, just as it's listed here.
Motion to approve the settlement of Cambria County Courts and Common Pleas docket number 2022-3707 at fair market price of $3,997,500.
I will go.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Eagle? Yes. Mr. Rennie?
Yes.
Mr. Brett?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. We usually don't have much say, so it makes it easy.
Whatever happened when we said no?
Doesn't go back. Old business? City manager.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. So we still have one remaining housing authority vacancy, which we had tabled following the August meeting. This was the seat formerly held by John Slezak. Mr. Slezak did submit a request to be reappointed, and the Johnstown Housing Authority submitted a letter recommending his reappointment. There were also 3 other applications received from city residents, which have been included in your packet materials.
We have those names before we vote. If you would.
Mr. Mazzola?
Bishop McCauley. And then also
And John Caesar.
John Slezak, Linda Yutzi, and Mr. I'm sorry, for
Please move the call, yeah, please, take it back, please.
okay, Bishop Joseph McCauley, John DiBartola, Lindy Yutzi, Lisa Machula, John Slezak, on Britt.
You can also know.
No, I think that I was, falsely represented for one of these applications. Because, it was from Mr. DeBartolo, put me down as a reference, which suggests that I have given him my vote of approval, and I am not. And I just wanted to go on the record that I did not refer him.
Any other comments before we take nominations? You would, where we'd like to start, council, nominate?
I nominate John Sleezer. He has worked terrifically. We have two representatives on the board that are, one was a former resident, one is a resident. That issue has been talked about several times, and we do have representation for the people and within the system. He's worked with us over the years. He's done a great job for it, and he's confident in what he knows about the mission of housing. He is truly concerned about the people. He's worked diligently to work hard to get the recommendation for the prospect. He has cared about things.
I'd like to nominate Quan Britt. I feel that Quan has a finger on the pulse of what goes on in this community. Not only that, he does work for Hope for Johnstown. The people in the communities are his face. He has ear for the people, and they trust him. I think he would be a great candidate in offering some fresh blood.
Are there any other nominations? But this time we have two nominations. We'll ask each council member to choose between John Slezak and Quan Britt. Is there any particular order? If you would, Deputy Mayor.
Quan Britt.
John Sleezer.
Question. Would it be a conflict of interest if you vote for my cousin?
I think we've had. I think you could vote for yourself if you want to.
Mr. Britt.
Vote, please. Well, the official vote is Mr. Slezak's voted to be reappointed. Okay, moving on then. Congratulations. All done.
Still have open seats on other boards at this time, correct?
I don't believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yes, yeah, those,
So-
yeah, there are the, I
So would it
apologize.
be an under old business nomination for that?
Well, I don't know that, because we supplied you with the applications for the Johnstown House.
Some of those applications.
So what I'm saying is there may be applications where somebody checked the planning commission, but not the housing authority, that we did not present.
Like some of that. Would get it. Yeah, next one.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, I think that if we have board vacancies, they should be on every agenda, and we should continue. There are none, to state that, but to not, I mean, I know I stared at two that had that listed as both, you know, going forward, I would like us.
I'd also suggest we make sure we follow the policy of how long we're keeping them. I can't remember if we keep them 6 months or 3 months or a year.
But
Okay, I thought it was 6, but let's double check that.
whichever it is right now, I just feel like that has that much, probably two vacancies at least, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the applications are different now too, and this has also got political aspect.
Yeah, and I think like when we looked at these, there were people that applied for multiple boards on that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on then to public comment on agenda items. Mason, Martin, if you would start. Oh, Sorry, guys, trying to. My bad. Public Works, please.
We're gonna do a little public works recreation phone booth tonight, if that's all right with you guys.
All right, sounds good.
Just. Public works wise, I met a few weeks ago with the meeting in September, so in a few weeks ago we started some for a paving project for this year. Earlier this week I met with the contractor that's running the river sediment removal job. They're looking to button up that job this week. They should be out of town probably by Tuesday, Wednesday next week. You'll see those drop trucks and everything cleared out of the landfill site down there.
Where are they going?
So they started at the river, or I'm sorry, up near the incline plane, then they're working their way down right by the shop, by the Minersville Bridge, just west side of the Minersville Bridge. Yeah, but then there's an additional phase. It's not out the bid yet. It'll continue on down from Cooper Hill.
One suggestion I have in the front of me makes sense. That ground where they're putting the filth, right? Both Sheets and the Advanced Auto had to raise the grade of their ground in order to build. Can that ground be used?
No. It's tested, yeah. A portion of it had actually go to the landfill, and then the remainder of it had to go to a clean field. It's not usable to build on. Yeah. But he gave me a rough number. They moved almost 11,000 yards of sediment out of that bridge. One other thing I just wanted to touch base on real quick. You mentioned about the Main Street project. If we run into something or on the other streets, there is normally contingency money in a project of that size, anywhere from like 20 to 40% of the overall project. So those numbers are baked into the overall project. Yep.
I do have one question. I like that, about getting a better deal on the school contact.
No, Tim Dahl.
Yeah.
Universe. I
don't know what the company is, but, we can maybe a nudge.
I don't think we'll be able to save money. We get them pretty cheap now, but we'll certainly reach out to them.
The channel as it is. Will they go up the old channel?
Project, this one. Yeah. They may at some point, but that's not. I haven't heard anything about it.
When gas companies moving through town, Aaron,
yep.
Then they move on to the next thing. They're doing a really poor job of backfilling what you get. They're throwing in loose gravel. That's some very significant trouble over. So, at what extent we can go behind them and say, hey, come fill this in, or if
so we can't control when they dig or where they dig, but they absolutely.
Definitely not following.
Williamson Avenue. Here, right there, the corner of Williamson. They dug up the sidewalk and they put, I guess, back in it.
It's terrible. You have to replace it.
Yeah, and they did not. Now, maybe they planned on coming back or whatever, but they did not replace it.
Well, I can pull their street opening permit, and at least go back and ask them what that way on.
And the other thing I would ask that you remind them is to please, as they go down the alley sides of these properties to do the main line that they're running, they please give notice to the property owners ahead of time. We have people, I have people
get in and out there,
beating me up to go to work. Like, I mean, you have to.
It's 48 hour notice.
Yeah, I mean, and they're not.
I'll follow up with their needs.
For Cooper Avenue, though, has that been rectified and put that back up with that neighborhood?
Yep.
Thank you.
And maybe this is not true. The roof of the house that I poured in, It's just, I mean, the house has been taken, you know, and there, I don't think there's a damage here.
But we can look at it. I'll take Dave and Chief with me.
Right there, right there on Fort. You know what I'm talking about. Don't forget about that wall coming up.
First of all, there might be a possibility in sometime in November or October we could possibly get some for Main Street through our DCNR money has landed water upgrades that we need, and we're going to have a scheduled conference call with them to update them. We have a bid in for Steel Street to do a playground, basketball court, and some benches. We have a quote in for Steel Street as well too, so that we can upgrade both of those. We're looking at the Orchard project on Fielder Street, and then Cypress is going to be a little more work as far as what we're doing. So we're looking at all the projects. We're doing a training tower, the hockey rink, so we can get that going. We've had some discussions with the Roxbury group again to make sure we have something. We're going to commence with that as we get those tiles in.
So the tiles, give me a date because legal counsel.
As soon as we get an official ship date, they're just telling us October as of right now.
And then with the yeah, I'll get that. Site. Playgrounds. I know the three are getting taken care of, well, two, and then Sandyville, Thursville, and I think we need to get again, like we do, Jared.
Absolutely.
To focus on where we're at with the rest of the playgrounds, and I think we're a little bit behind. Bring the rest of the playgrounds and a plan to get something done.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to get on that, and we've been working analyzing that project. We had started like this. We had to kind of narrow it down in the right places. So yeah, that could be sooner rather. We did a security walkthrough at the Point Stadium to kind of tweak the cameras and make sure we're covered for both liability purposes and safety and security. And a bunch of upgrades there as well too.
What about
We have a grant application that we had submitted earlier this year that we're still waiting on a result for. So we should hear about that this. I'm sorry.
Was there a match?
Yeah, there's a 15% match grant.
How are we going to do that?
Funds, but the tenants association also is offer that match.
We have a
so.
portion of it. Yeah. Do we have a time frame, bro?
We'll probably end up hearing this fall is usually when they make those decisions on those grants.
And last, just we're working right now. We did a walkthrough at Roxbury to put those benches out around. But at this point right now, just plain benches with no memorials. Not this time.
We use anything as far as stadium itself for leagues or kids to come? Anything there?
I know we had reached out at WA had reached some activities in there, but other than that, no, nothing during the day. We offered it up. We just it's hard to get that stuff together with minimal staff and we'll fight for funding before. No, nothing has come to fruition. We talked with Play 60 at the NFL, just nothing. I mean, it's used pretty heavy in the evenings. Just that daytime component. We'd love to get somebody in there. We've offered it up to many of the nonprofits, and we that and just create that opportunity with the NORADs or someone to give some lessons and get that active during the day.
That's something maybe to talk to Sean Kabaya, and he's becoming more outside.
You know, we've had lots of dialogue with them as far as doing things. They showed some interest in the hockey rink. We met with them about basketball. They wanted to wait till we did a little more upgrades up there at Roxbury. We met with him and Crystal and the group of them to talk about activities. So we're always looking at things. I mean, I tried to recommend the soccer there. They weren't interested in that at that point. So they were more focused on basketball, and it's just getting the people to run these leagues and the funding. Yeah. That's our biggest issue right now, but I mean, there's nothing more than we want that park to be moving all the time, because it's a jewel of the community right now. Especially our young people, they need more activities.
Have we done anything with the cameras? For games or anybody?
Which cameras? The security or the cameras that we have?
The cameras that we have for.
So the mill able to secure somebody to use those cameras. They're fully and completely functional, and they're amazing with the photographs and video that you can capture, but they weren't able to secure someone to use the technology.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We want all this.
No, Bishop McCord is streaming their football games currently.
Yeah, and we stream as well too. We're using them, but as far as them, and they're not the only ones who are using it. It's a nice advertising piece. We hosted the AAA championship for baseball this year, and we go out to make those different groups. It's a feature to be able to zoom in. But as far as the summertime, the JCBL wasn't interested in the AAA. The rest weren't able to secure that person. And that's something we're working on too. We're talking about having a Saturday training so we can learn how to operate that better to make our stadium more marketable. And it's right under the wire to get ready for the summer, so there hasn't been a lot of time. Donnie's really good with that stuff. He donated a ton of time streaming all those games, and the feedback from that was fantastic. The people that were able to watch the tournament, it was great.
The guy from hockey.
Yeah, just to help us stage it, yes, not to do the work.
All right, that's it.
Chief, please.
Good evening. The drug checkpoint, it's basically an interdiction campaign. We had several traffic stops. We had truck safety out today. We made several stops. Put a dangerous truck out of service. Trying to street safer. As far as recruiting, we have our application process open. Both certified and non-certified police officers. Non-certified, and that is different from the academy for optimism. Thanks to Mr. Imhoff for giving us help with the billboards. Great, appreciate the help. A lot of things going on. We'll be transitioning to our new reporting system. I believe Dawn said the grant funding came in for $55,000. So we're happy about that. We'll be transitioning to new radios. Each probably a new radio in it. We shop to do that. And in-car cameras.
Then we have the meeting. 1889.
Yeah, see what we can do. We can get something formed up here to we can interact. We have a great start to that. We have the actual quote for the camera equipment and that's the right point. So.
I saw Henry's done. Was it North of
Hamburg? Yeah, we went up and visited those folks, and we actually saw them in operation. So when we get online, and we hooked up with those guys and other places around the state, Westmoreland County has, Allegheny County. So it's a good thing. We can track a lot of movement.
Actually, has there been any more thought on the just like leaving our application process open since we are struggling so hard to get applicants? I know that there's times when we post it and then we close it and we post it and close it. I mean, I know there's a lot of municipalities out here, not just locally but all over, that are leaving their application process open for their public safety folks, both police and fire, because they struggle so. I know that's probably not the case with our fire department right now, staffing wise, but. So that, not that you have to take every single application and then go to put a process together, but at least if it's always open, somebody may, throw their name in and get 5 or 6 and you're okay, well, we're going to have a testing process. Something that you guys have around anymore?
Sure, we're always looking for ideas. In this case, we have a window of opportunity to get the academy. The two full-time academies, Indiana and Westmoreland, start at different times but in the same month. So we need to get those individuals tested, vetted. Actually, then we have to take to the academy and they have to go through the entry process. And so that's why that one's, we have a kind of end date on that, so that then after we make our selection for the academy, will be great to do that, so we can start looking forward to.
And Highland's gonna be going full time with anything?
Not that I've heard of, this new class is starting to be part-time, be ready next year. They graduated a bunch last month. I think they're all spoken for except one.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Fire, please.
We're in the process of the same radio upgrade. That is actually part of the county upgrade, switching over to an 800 megahertz system for the whole county. Sat on the committee for actually 4 years, so it's kind of nice to see the end of this project. I talked to the chief the other day. Preliminary testing that we've been doing a little bit with transmissions and stuff. It's actually an improvement to bad areas of the city. As far as our coverage, it's a good improvement and much needed. He brought up about his in-car cameras, and he got the funding to get his in-car cameras. I kind of voluntarily asked for the old ones. The system still does work, which allows me to put cameras in the fire trucks to see what's going on. A little bit of a safety measure, traffic. I kind of repurposed some of that equipment. Good news on the end of the fire training site, end of August, we were notified by the state that we got a $100,000 grant. It was kind of a fast track grant. We got it, the information come out end of June or so. Kathy from Community Development helped do the grant paperwork. And actually the state got back to us faster than we thought. They only allotted $4 million across the state. We're one of the few places that actually got the grant. That will allow us to get not only the building up with the money we had, but some additional work done that we were looking for funding for. So that'll help us out. We were working today. I met with we had an issue. One of the things we need with that training site is a decent water supply. Not that the water supply in the neighborhood is not good, but us taxing the system was not an option. We would have been making everybody's water dirty and a whole bunch of other issues with that supply-wise and everything. So we didn't have the option of going with RDM and the local authority. We were able to figure out that there is a Cambridge Somerset Authority line over there. We went with them today, going through the process, and we're able to tap into a 56-inch line that comes to feed the main. So we're working through that process to get a water supply. Yeah, it's a big water line.
That goes across the river and then.
It goes under the river. It follows Pine Street. So it goes under the river, it follows Pine. It actually feeds Gautier and Wirewood. We're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to go to their board meeting and stuff. So tentatively, we'll be able to tap into that line. We have to get some, of course, piping run and that kind of stuff. It's early in the phase, but there's not an issue. That project's moving ahead. So.
When you move forward to tap into that line, I would suggest you talk to RDM because they have the material to do it. Perhaps they can work out something.
We're looking at those avenues. The Cambridge Somerset Authority actually works with Laurel, so we're looking at both avenues. Today was our first. They actually let us know they're doing some maintenance on that section of the pipe, so it's going to be shut down here coming up. They want to do the tap at that point. So this may be fast tracked for this council.
Working the tunnel. That line will be shut.
In about 4 weeks or so. Yeah, but so that may get fast tracked, but yeah, we're working on that. We're getting prices, and I'm working on getting prices and stuff for that now.
station, where we at?
The work.
Great.
That's a
Great.
bigger project. Yeah, but I'm looking to get prices on what these on building now. It's sometimes getting contractors time to find us to do that. It's more difficult. I can give you a rough estimate, but I don't know exact numbers.
I didn't know where we were on payment was.
Just looking now.
Anywhere on where we are with the memorial?
Bids were out.
Yeah, I think actually this thing will have, we'll have some just relief.
Very good. Anything you have to add on finance? Community development, please.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few quick things. August was a good grant application month. We got 5 submitted there. The one available to us this month is the local share account grant, $1 million. So we'll be looking at some safety building plan, whatever we're going to do in regards to that, to help with the costs involved with that. This past Saturday, I got to host some executives from Intuit and Concentrics were in town. They came in town to do a day-long celebration with the staff that work for Concentrics. So whereas location within the region, they still have 250 employees that work here. They want to grow that to 400 as quickly as they can. So came into town, and we talked some strategies and some thoughts on that. So more to come in regards to that. They want to help us out further here within the community. Got to talk with our regional representative from DCED, who has asked if I would participate on the state's effort to update the state economic development plan. It's been about 20 years since that's been done, so they want to make sure the city has involvement on that process. So I'll be able to participate on that moving forward. And in honor of Fashion Week, for those who weren't aware, if you drove by the train station last week or even part of the week before, there were a lot of trailers and tents set up out there. What that was the worldwide company Anthropology, which is a female clothing-based group. They were doing their catalog shoot at the Johnstown train station. They were looking at train stations throughout the United States to do this catalog shoot, and they ended up shooting Johnstown. So I think that's a good, nice thing for us to talk about here in the community, because that doesn't happen that often. So when that catalog goes out, make sure you take a look at it. Any questions for me? Perfect.
Just before Dave starts, I'd just like to call and thank all the work we're doing. Thank you, gentlemen.
For the codes report, there was 122 service requests code violations issued for the month of August, 37 building permits, and we have 6 charges filed in that of October. This will follow up with finance as well. We had a call this morning at 10 minutes ago the new updated software. That should be up and running and live come middle of October now. We just got our new icons, our training and everything. Formal training will be, that should go live middle of October. I'd say November. Let's get used to the system software coming in and we'll show you how.
Well, that's streamlined up to really speak.
I'm hoping that they can issue violations right out of the vehicles at some point. They might hate, but they wouldn't have to be in the office.
No, I have 223 Glen Street is going to be taken care of.
Chief and I are working.
You had to answer the calls I had.
We've been working on this since the day after the fire.
Yeah. We'll put a nice glossy photo in the RP for you. Don't worry, he'll be in there.
Among many others.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's other fun.
Here's what I can tell. Whatever So what, that was years ago, and there's nothing there now, but it is actually on Fairplay. And it was somewhere working on something and just that they will just dump it in.
Is it?
And it's concrete and big chunks
Yep.
of stuff.
Between South Street and Mill Creek?
Yes.
If I could, Dennis, when you go on to get on the bypass at the bottom of Becker Street, look directly ahead, off to your right. The brown house, I don't know the name of the street, it's like a block wall. It's below where the grocery store was.
Yeah.
The guy has, it's gotta be an acre of garbage, appliances.
The properties that we have filed charges. Management this month. Pretty active.
I mean, there's everything there, it's not just TVs, washing.
Update on how things are going with the new manager.
Yeah, we've been working really well with them. Magistrate Stuvich was out of the office. Talking with someone who was filling in for him. He is, my knowledge, he's back in now and active. And getting active. But everything's been going really well. It was fun. I feel really, really well. Yeah.
Once you finish, so I feel. And also, one. Business.
Across from Grisetti's. So we had cleaned that up. We cleaned the mattresses.
But it's blocking.
Well, yeah, we're going to stop blocking that sidewalk, but there's still more illegal. I'm going to go out there. Try to find out who's doing that. We do, yeah.
Okay, this is one property I asked you about at 507 Oak Street.
Okay.
The home up there that's getting big basketball there. I've seen some of the guys out. I guess there's the grass of the area. They never got over that area there to the home there.
I'll follow with that tomorrow. And I can call you to give you an update if you want.
Again.
Yes.
I had it. My fault.
All right, I think where the garage is at, there's a garage in front of town.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's.
All that garbage. We moved out of there, so last week I think.
It's just a bad-
At the Messenger and Ash.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another spot that Public Works and I cleaned up the same day as Franklin Street.
Messenger and Goldie.
Right.
Okay.
It's because it's a green garage.
That's true. It's only one of six.
Messenger and Boldy done
That's Wood Street.
Okay.
Yeah, that's yours.
So wouldn't go in.
Yeah, that's Messenger and Wood Street, right? And then,
Wooden Gold, I'm sorry.
Messenger and Wood, it's on that.
Okay.
It's on that in the garage. It's in the garage. And it's just, what are, open, right? And then in Morristown also on, Ash, where's the place not necessarily, you know what it's at.
The restaurant there. The old restaurant.
Where the barber shop is at. Calvin's barber shop across from. Yes,
In that lot there.
yeah.
That's what, yeah, so we were out there with Public Works
That's
2 weeks ago, the
That's
same
all.
day that we cleaned up that garbage. Now, I passed it today, and there was a bag there.
I see
That-
But it's like living that building.
Yes, somebody is living there.
That's where it's coming from.
The house or the, because that's separate parcels there too, so. So I do, I spoke with the property owner, I spoke with the tenant and the property owner, who's gonna be in the process of getting out of there. And cleaning up those vehicles and over here by within the next month or two. But then the owner of the garage would like to purchase those three parcels.
So that's good. Police always do the research on that. Tell everybody where you're at.
So, just spoke with the state police. I should be getting the ORI, the approval to that. I send the department with the vans. Or just make a call to the state police and get it direct. The police with that.
That will speed things up.
Oh, yeah, yes.
So once you keep process for interview, you have to send the owner a letter.
We would send them a letter. If we get it returned, then we would apply for the vehicle. Call brass or one of the.
Any final questions?
Yes.
Thank you, Dave. Moving on to public comment. Mason, fill in this.
I just want to say
We have
thank
3 minutes.
I just want to say thank you very much for letting me speak on behalf of the homeless youth out there. And I apologize. I just wish there was a way that there was more further contact with us through letters and stuff. I'll be glad to sit down and talk to you guys and number. We talk. Like, I would love to see more workers out there. Like, I brought up the idea to one of the housing workers about the Amish getting involved with unions when they can rebuild. But again, I'm not trying to say it on agenda. I'm just trying to bring up the points. Help us citizens and make it more easier on both of you guys, if that's okay. I just want to say thank you very much for.
I suggest Mr. Arnone, maybe you speak to people volunteer, or even though he's on the board.
How come you guys are? No problem. We appreciate it, sir. Thank you for your time.
We appreciate it.
Mason, I just want to say thank you for all your organizational work. And I will tell you that one time in each and every room, there was a tenants council. And when that tenants council was in place, successful in meeting the needs of the residents. And they are the way time. So perhaps maybe now, you should go back to Prospect, or whoever goes back to Prospect, whatever the case may be, that you keep that same spirit and have tenants council in place pertains to you. While we as city council appreciate you coming and letting us know, because for the entire city, we have no say so. There's nothing that we can do about it. We're not in charge of the workers. We're not in charge of the buildings. We don't do that here at City Council. That has to be addressed directly to the Johnstown Housing Authority. But I do thank you for your concern, and I will offer my support to you. That should, with whatever housing community that you live in, should you want to get your tenants council up and running, myself, and I'm going to drag Ms. Mock into this as well. And we would come and help you find your residence council so that you can get a regular meeting day, so that you guys can begin to meet on a regular basis. So perhaps maybe if there was a tenants council, they could have been bringing up issues that were going on in the buildings, and they could have been addressed before they got to that point. So that is my commitment to you.
I definitely appreciate that. That's what I was bringing up earlier about see if there's a better way to communicate.
Yes.
I kind of feel like residents are still in the shadows a little bit, no disrespect, because you guys get notified first, because it's harder for us.
No,
to get.
no, What happens with the Johnstown Housing Authority happens, with them. So everybody always thinks that we know everything, and I'll tell you, we don't.
If I can make one suggestion to you, it's the easiest one right now I can think of, is they meet monthly. We meet monthly, and it's posted in the paper. Make sure you get down there and you put on the agenda so that you can bring your whatever you want to say to the board. And that happens every month. And I can say for as many years I've been there, with the exception of John, nobody from those units comes to those things. And you can easily do that. So whether you're in Oakhurst or you're welcome to be there. You just have to make arrangements, and John can tell you how to do it. But you can go there and voice your opinion. Okay?
I definitely appreciate it.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. DiBartolo with 3 minutes to speak.
Yeah, can I get on the agenda beforehand, please? I didn't know. I just want clarification on this.
Well, we'll have to go in order. Mr. DiBartolo.
Okay.
Can I address again, friends?
Yeah, please.
John DiBartola, TEBARTOLA, 1197 Bedford Street.
And you have 3 minutes.
Property tax appeals concern me. Councilwoman Mock had a very good question. I heard you was in wasn't for the actual amount. I have to ask because I'm always worried about lost revenue. Hopefully someone can answer that when I'm done. These property appeals keep happening where there doesn't sit the county. At some point there's going to be a reckoning because you're losing. Joe Taranto and I started a petition on change.org. Please stop what you're doing with Central Park. We've already hashed this over and over. I've heard all your responses. There's a lot of people like me who are against what you're doing. Pay attention. Johnstown Housing Authority Board appointment. Ms. Benjamin may know the answer to this, but when you have a vote, don't you have to list for Sunshine Act who you're voting on? Your agenda said 3 people. I know I was one of them. I didn't know about Mr. Griffey Sitter. I would have read you his criminal record had I known. The fact that 3 of you voted for him and he almost got in, and I believe he selling crack at a playground, went to jail in 2010 with the FBI, and the 3 of you almost put him on. That was almost a 4th vote. It's horrendous. As far as conspiracy theories, Ms. Upel, he's night vision's number 2. 3 members of this board were on vision. Those records I've been posting that I received from the city show a lot of conspiracy. I'm not crazy or wearing a tinfoil hat. What is going on with our government? We have public agendas, private meetings, private agendas, and there's many people who agree with me. I filed a right to know request for the CERT account with the JPD. I don't know if there's a situation with the money. I'd like to know if there is missing money or if there's any investigations or what's going on. I filed with Mr. Ascom earlier this week. I did one of these similar requests in 2016 with the drug program, Pandora's box. I'm hoping that's not the case 8 years later. But I do receive whatever audit there was or whatever information you have. I did a similar one with the Attorney's office. I'd like to know if there's any issues. If the city has a bad habit of overlooking things or covering it up. I reference Carlos Gumpy if you like. So those are the majority of my items. Did right to know request a councilperson's Facebook posts. I never violated or desecrated a memorial plaque. Well, you put it online with someone who did, and you commented that you were going to keep us from getting elected. There are 3 of us who are seriously considering. I don't know if I would sue you. I think you're my friend. I'm just kind of hurt. Trashing me is one thing. Accusing me of desecrating a grave. I was shocked. A memorial plaque at Roxbury Park. I was just kind of shocked because 1, I'm not even involved in the Roxbury Memorial Plot issue. It doesn't involve me. My mother's death anniversary would be tomorrow, 32 years. I don't know if I would put a plaque for her like that at Memorial Park for Roxbury. I don't know. Thank you so much.
Sure thing.
I'd like to comment.
Sure we can before we conclude.
I didn't accuse anything personally with any damage to anything. It was the uproar that certain people caused on Facebook. Probably led somebody to go ahead and do that. No idea. But the fact that there was encouragement from you to a certain person who don't let it get swept under the rug. as well, nobody did anything wrong. I didn't accuse anybody personally. I did. If you took it that way, I'm sorry. And the other two, they want to take my apology as well. I didn't personally accuse anybody of doing anything. Just the uproar that caused somebody to go down with it.
All right, moving on, Mr. Boulay.
I wanted to get a little clarification on our workshop. So who will be the person to decide on a date?
That'll be the city manager.
Okay, so I will be the point person for Lincoln Apartments. So I'll communicate so that, other than website and this, all that, I think we can communicate. This is a big enough situation. I hope we can communicate. There's going to be a lot of people that will want to come. It should be, yeah, it's open to the public, obviously. You set the date.
It will be publicly by you and the.
Okay, so in your, are you looking a couple weeks down the road?
Yeah, to get the number of people that are going to need.
You know, we discussed about inviting some of our legislator people, the HUD, those people. Will you kind of coordinate that?
Yeah, I want the staff and council to coordinate that.
Okay, so I would anticipate consulting with you to find out when this would be. I said, okay, that's all I wanted for clarification. We're all interested is to, read it in the section C of the newspaper is going to be the right way. I'd like to communicate with you. I think it's a workshop. So, thank you.
Council, any other things that?
I appreciate what Mr. Malone is saying. I caution that we would start individually notifying groups or entities, because then when we don't notify a specific group or entity, they're going to say, well, nobody contacted us. If the process is through the sunshine laws and we adhere to all those, like, he calls and asks, that's one thing, but I don't think we should be sending out individual organizations, because then some organization is going to be upset by that. He's more than welcome to call and with Sarah or the city manager directly or Alex and say, hey, have you come up with a new idea? I don't think we should be the ones doing it through that process. That's just right.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't vet the date. I mean, if somebody comes to our office and says, I would like to be notified when this meeting is scheduled, we will notify that individual.
They can inform neutral.
It will be neutral. Yeah.
I mean,
It will be totally neutral.
Advertise it in the paper.
Pull that information up.
I wouldn't say that. I said,
I don't think that's going to
hold on,
be a
Mr. Glenn.
problem.
One person at a time, please. Listener, let's listen.
I was gonna say, everything's fine with raising the notice. And if there's everyone on board asking us to do that, if you do take that on, and notify them about.
My only other question is, will it be held in council chambers?
To be determined.
To be determined. Thank you.
Anything else before we conclude? I would just like to make one comment. We had 4 or 5 sessions on Central Park and Main Street project. People had more than ample opportunity to show up for those things, to give their comments, and same on them if they didn't show up.
We're going to go into it, please put on the record, prior to determining we're going into executive session discussing
Hey, Brian. See you down the road.